Good morning. How are you? Welcome to the New England Bulletin, authored by John Flannery. It's about 60 degrees. It may have showers here. You know, we are by the sea. And I'm beginning to disconnect myself from the rat race. So that's a good sign. We're at the best point in the vacation. Then it all gets trashed by the time you come back. I want to wish those happy Rosh Hashanah today. I did it early. Some people gave me grief because today is the day. And I thought we'd be on travel and I might not have access to send out such a greeting. So there it is. One of my friends said that coming from the Bronx, you're an honorary Jew. And I've been a student of, but I'm not attached to any religion these days. I think it's ironic that we call this Labor Day. Such a lie. We celebrate it as if it matters, but it doesn't really matter because the test of what matters is what we actually do. What do we do for working men and women? And right now, as I talk to you, I think it's about 7 million workers are losing the benefits, and this follows upon all those citizens who now can be evicted, and there are 8.4 million people unemployed. Now, Republicans don't want to give any money to the workers because they say, oh, it discourages them from working. Well, hello, the pandemic discourages people from working, and the Republicans will do anything to diminish the amount of money spent so they can guarantee tax breaks to their friends on Wall Street and so forth. And you know, this is kind of old capitalism argument, but old wine in new wine bottles. We have, for years, the productivity of American workers has gone to the benefit of the owners, the capitalists, sorry, that's it, that's who they are. And the workers have not been getting a share in that productivity and salary boosts and wage earning boosts and benefits and so forth, so that the greedy can have more mammon to satisfy a need that is only a measure of their perceived success because they have more than they need. And in the tax proposals we've had, and these Americans who profited in our American system don't want to share the wealth. It's amazing. And you see these people all the time. They're amoral. And so that's what we're suffering on Labor Day. And we should have a right to organize. In Virginia, where I'm from, it's a so-called right-to-work state, which means it's a right to work without a right to organize and defend yourself, and in the aggregate to bargain for better working conditions and benefits. I think that's a fair summary. So when you think of Labor Day today, don't think of it as a day off, at least not the whole day. Think of it as a day in which the nation is a hypocrite, that it speaks glowingly of the workers, but doesn't lift a finger to lighten the load. There's actually a statement in Luke about that, where Jesus reportedly cursed lawyers. He says, because they place a burden on people and they lift not a finger to lighten the load. And that's what we have. We have great pretense, but no follow through. Another thing that interests me is in the category of lying and not following the law, we have the abortion law in Texas, which not only violates Roe v. Wade by saying that you can't have an abortion after six weeks when a trimester is the minimum period in Roe v. Wade, but it also enlists bounty hunters to go after them. Have you heard a word from the Department of Justice? No. That would mean committing oneself. The government doesn't commit itself to anything. It talks, like I said the other day, it talks the tune but doesn't do the dance. And that's what we need. Less talk, more action. So what could the Department of Justice do? Well, let's start with the vigilantes that are going to go out and get $10,000 if they compromise some woman's abortion or prevents a doctor from doing what he would do for his patient who has a right, a constitutional right, a right against the wrongs of government to have an abortion. What is the story on these vigilantes? Well, there's the Ku Klux Klan laws, which are specifically talk about compromising another person's rights and doing it in conjunction with others. It's a crime. Title 18, there are so many titles, U.S. Code, Section 242. So 242, you should write the members of Congress and say, get the Department of Justice to get off its ass and prosecute these people for this, because they're going to be there. They're going to say, oh, we got to watch, we got to wait and see what happens. Yeah, and in the meantime, there are women who are going to not be able to have an abortion, particularly if they're not from the socioeconomic status that allows them to go someplace where they could have that abortion. So that's outrageous. Over the years, I've always resisted laws by the government that put the burden on the private citizen to do what the federal government can't or won't do. In other words, kind of a spy system. They're not the Stasi, but it's something like that. The Stasi being East German ways of surveilling the public. So what do these private AGs do? They go out and they find out that you're going to have an abortion. How accurate do you think they're going to be in their assessment? What if they delay a legitimate abortion? You know, this is intolerable. Anyhow, the AG should be investigating and prosecuting. Choose a test case and go after them. Go after them like a junkyard dog. And the second thing is you can bring civil actions to enjoin what they're doing. That means to stop it. Where's that? Where's the federal government? We get lip service from one end of Pennsylvania Avenue to the other about, oh, what we got to do. You hear a bill in Congress? No. You hear an action by the Department of Justice, so-called? No. So we had a Department of Justice that was corrupt and was very active and did all sorts of things that were wrong. Now we have one that is inert. It's a lead-based Department of Justice. They don't do anything. Well, there we are. Well, you know, one other thought I have is September the 18th. The criminals are returning to the Capitol with a permit to demonstrate and say those rioters who are in jail should be released. They're political prisoners. How in the world do we give them a permit? How in the world do we do this without safeguards? How in the world do we do it without fences around the Capitol again to protect our government from these know-nothing criminals? Okay, so that's my story. I'm on the road walking to the lighthouse that I like. And I'll send you a couple of views. And John McLaughlin and I didn't do a show this week because I'm on travel and there are logistical problems. But I may talk a few minutes later about a couple of things on my mind as kind of a short substitute. There's always something on my mind, I guess. One person who, I was giving a public speech and there was a Q&A session, and he said to me, you know your problem, John? And this guy's a friend, right? He says, you're too much in your head. Well, right now, our nation needs more people in their head, needs more people thinking, using and finding real facts, and adhering to standards and rules of conduct, including what's in the law and the Constitution. And we don't have it. And we have to stop the inertness, because what's at risk is our entire government, our entire way of life. Nothing less. And if you don't believe me, go online and see what these yahoos are saying. All the best. Have a good day. Well, let's spin around Labor Day in Maine. Bye-bye.